Here's the review for Unit 7. Number 1 says a group of students stood in a circle to play a game. The circle had a diameter of 22 meters. Which measurement is closest to the circumference of the circle in meters? So the first thing I would do is to draw a circle. Now we know the diameter is all the way across the circle through the middle. And we know it's 22. Now we're looking for circumference. So circumference formula given diameter is just pi times d. We know pi is 3.14, so all we have to do is 3.14 times by 22. 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. Now we add. We get 8, 10, that's 8, 9, and 6. Now there's 2 decimal places, so I have to move my decimal 2 places. And we get 69.08 meters around the circle. Number 2 says an advertising banner has 4 sections as modeled below. 2 sections are congruent trapezoids and 2 sections are congruent right triangles. Which measurement is the best estimate of the area of the banner in square meters? So even though this shape is sectioned off into 4 different shapes, the overall big shape is just a triangle. Now I know the height of the triangle, which is right here, so I'm going to highlight that. Then I have to figure out the base. I know the base is the bottom, right here. Now, we know this part right here is 1 meters. We know they're congruent shapes, so this is also 1 meter. So I'm going to write that in. And the triangle base right here is 1 3/4. So this is also going to be 1 3/4. Now I'm going to write that as a decimal, because decimals are easier to work with, 1.75. I'm going to change this to 1.75 as well. Now I'm just going to find the area of the big triangle instead of finding 4 different areas. So I know the area of triangle is area equals base times height divided by 2. Now I know the height of the triangle is 2, so I can bring down what I know. And then the base I need to add up. I have 1 and 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1.75 is 3.75. And 3.75 plus another 1.75. You get 10, 14, 15, 4, 5. Bring the decimal straight down. So the base would be 5.5. So we have 5.5 times 2 divided by 2. So we can do these in any order. So I'm going to do 2 divided by 2 first, which is 1. Multiply that by 5.5, which is just 5.5. Now, that doesn't match up exactly to any of our answers, but it does say which measurement is the best estimate of the area. So, the best estimate would be the closest answer of 6 meters squared. Number 3 says one of the largest cookies on record had a diameter of 78.75 feet. What is the approximate circumference of the cookie? Use 3.14 for pi. Forgot to add that in. Round the solution to the 10th place. So the first thing I would do is draw my circle. And it says the diameter, which is all the way across, 78.75. Now I'm looking for, it says the circumference. So circumference formula given diameter is just pi times d. So we know 3.14 is pi, and our diameter is 78.75. So we just need to multiply. 78.75 times 3.14. So we're going to pretend the decimals aren't even there right now. Just multiply regularly. So 5 times 4 is 20. Carry the 2. 4 times 7 is 28. Plus 2 is 30. Carry the 3. 4 times 8 is 32. Plus 3 is 35. Carry the 3. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 3, 29, 30, 31. We're done with 4 and everything with it. We have an x for whole place value. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 8, 8. And 1 times 7 is 7. We're done with that. We have 2 x's for place value now. So now we need to do 3 times 5, which is 15. Carry the 1. 3 times 7, 21. Plus 1 is 22. Carry the 2. 3 times 8 is 24. Plus 2 is 26. Put the 6. Carry the 2. 3 times 7 is 21. Plus 2 is 23. So now we need to add. We have 0, 5. So here we have 5 plus 7 plus 5. I know 5 and 5 together is 10. Plus 7 is 17. Carry the 1. Here we have 8 plus 2, which is 10. 11, 12. Put the 2. Carry the 1. Now I have 6 plus 3 is 9. Plus 1 is 10. Plus 7 is 17. 7, carry the 1. That's 3 and 1, which is 4, and 2 all by itself. Now, I have to look and count up how many decimal places I have up here. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have to move my decimal 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right there. So I would get 247, and it says round to the 10th place, so that's the first one, so that would be 0.27. So, since I'm looking at the first place, I have to ask myself, is this 5 or more or 4 or less? Since it's 5 or more, we're going to up the score of the one before it to get 247.3 feet. And its circumference all the way around. Number 4 says, one of the tokens for a board game is a circle containing 5 congruent triangles as modeled below. Which measurement is closest to the area in square centimeters of the token not covered by the triangles? So we have 2 different sections. We have the triangles, and we have the rest of circle. So we need to figure out the area of the circle first. So we see that the diameter of the circle is 6 centimeters, all the way across 6 centimeters. So for the area of the circle, it is A equals pi r squared, or radius times radius. So if the diameter, again, is 6 all the way across, the radius is half of that. So half of 6 is 3. So we're going to go 3 times 3 times 3.14 for pi. So we need to multiply. We know 3 times 3 is 9. So it's really 3.14 times by 9. So 9 times 4 is 36. Put the 6, carry the 3. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 3 is 12. Put the 2, carry the 1. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 1 is 28. So we get 28.26. Now notice, there is an answer very similar to that, and that's the tricky answer. So we know we have something else to do still, so that answer cannot be it. We need to eliminate it. Now we need to figure out the area of the triangles. So one triangle has a base of 1 and a height of 1. So for area of a triangle, we have A equals base times height divided by 2. So if the base is 1, the height is 1, then we divide it by 2. 1 times 1 is obviously 1. divided by 2 is 0.5, or 1/2. Now, I have 5 triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have to multiply 0.5 times by 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. There's one decimal, so I have 2.5 for the triangles. Notice, that is an answer here. We know we have to do something else still, so we know we can eliminate that. That's another tricky answer. So in the problem, it says of the token not covered by the triangles. So we want to know the entire circle without the triangles. So we do 28.26. We're going to subtract 2.5. We have to add a 0 for place value. 6 minus 0, 6. 2 minus 5 we can't do, so we have to borrow. This becomes 12. This becomes 7. 12 minus 5 is 7. Bring your decimal straight down. 7 minus 2 is 5. And 2 minus nothing is 2. So we get 25.76 centimeters squared. Number 5 says the original Ferris wheel, introduced at the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago, had a diameter of 125 feet. So I want to go ahead and draw that. So we have the circle, diameter all the way across is 125 feet. What is the approximate distance traveled by a person who rode this Ferris wheel? 5, that's very important, complete revolutions. That's another important keyword. We know revolutions means circumference, because revolution is on the outside of the circle. So we're looking for circumference given diameter. So the formula is C equals pi times d. And now we just need to multiply. We know the diameter is 125. And we know that pi is 3.14. So 5 times 4 is 20, carry the 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10, carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. We're done with 4, so we can cross out everything associated with it, put an X for place value. 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 1 is 1. We are done with 1. Now we have 2 X's for place value. 3 times 5 is 15, so we put the 5, carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 3 times 1 is 3. Now we need to add. We get 0, 5. 5 and 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12. We have 7, 8, 9, and 3. Now there's 2 decimal places, so I move the decimal twice there. Now that answer is there, but it is not correct. Okay, that's another tricky answer. This other thing up here, this 5 complete revolutions, that's 5 times around the circle. So that means we have to multiply this number by 5. So let's go ahead and get rid of that answer. Now we have to multiply by 5. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 5 is 25. Put the 5, carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 5 times 9 is 45, plus 1 is 46. And 5 times 3 is 15, plus 4 is 19. There's 2 decimals, so I move it 2 decimals. I get 1,962.5 feet. Number 6 says a circular stained glass window has a diameter of 5 feet that is shown below. What is the approximate area in square feet of the stained glass window? And we need to use 3.14 for pi. So we know we're looking for area, so we can put area equals pi r squared, or radius times radius. Now it's given us 5 is the diameter, so all the way across is 5. Now we know radius is half the distance, so we half 5, which is 2.5. And that's our radius. So we need to multiply 2.5 times 2.5 times 3.14. So we need to do 2.5 times 2.5 first. 5 times 5 is 25. Put the 5, carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. We're down to 5, put x for place value. 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So we need to add, we get 5, 2, 6. There's 2 decimal places, so we get 6.25. So let's write that right here. We still need to multiply by 3.14. So let's do that up here. 3.14. We're multiplying by 6.25. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry the 2. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. 5 times 3 is 15. We're down to 5, so let's cross it out and everything with it. Now we have an x for place value. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Done with 2. Put 2 x's now. 6 times 4 is 24. Put the 4. Carry the 2. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 2 is 8. And 6 times 3 is 18. Let's add. So we get 0. 8 plus 7 is 15. Carry the 1. So we have 5 plus 1 is 6. Plus 2 is 8. Plus 4 is 12. 2, carry the 1. We get 8 plus 1 is 10. Plus 6 is 16. Carry the 1. 8 and 1 is 9. And 1 is 1. Now we have 4 decimal places up top. So we have to move it 4 decimal places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we get 19.625 feet. And now we need to round because we don't have anything that's that. So we look at this number right here. It's 5 or more, so we're going to up this score to 19.63. So number 7 says, during math class, Kirk was measuring the diameter and circumference of different circular objects. He recorded his findings in the table. Which expression represents the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter? Now this is just something that you should know as a student. We know that it needs to equal pi. And we are looking at circumference and diameter alone. So we can cross off anything with radius. And we know that we never really square pi. So we can take those two answers out. Now we have pi r squared and pi left. Right here and right here. We know that pi r squared is for area. And so we're left with A. Now if you want to check yourself, we can try it. So their circumference is 12.56. And that would be divided by the diameter of 4. So let's try that, top in, bottom out, and see if we get 3.14. 4 goes into 1 0 times, 4 goes into 12, 3. 0 left over, bring our decimal up, 5 down. 4 goes into 5 once, bring down the 6. 4 goes into 16 4 times. So that would mean circumference over diameter does equal pi. All right, number 8 says, Elliot needs to replace a window that is in the shape of a semicircle. What is the area of the window? Use 3.14 for pi. Round your answer to the nearest hundredth of a square foot. So we need to know areas. Formula for a square is pi r squared. Now since it's only half a circle, a semicircle, we also have to divide by 2. So we know that the radius is given in the picture, and that is 1.5. So we have to multiply by another 1.5. And we have to multiply by 3.14. Then we have to divide by 2. So let's do some math up here. 1.5 times 1.5. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry the 2. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. We're done with that. Put an x for place value. 1 times 5 is 5, and 1 times 1 is 1. When we add up, we get 5. We get 12, carry the 1, and 1 is 2. There's 2 decimal places, so we get 2.25. Now we still have to multiply by 3.14, and we have to divide by 2. So I'm going to do the multiplying first. So let's do 3.14. We're going to multiply it by 2.25. 5 times 4 is 20. Put the 0, carry the 2. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. 5 times 3 is 15. Put an extra place value. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 x's for place value. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. And 2 times 3 is 6. Now we need to add. We get 0. 15, carry the 1. We have 8 plus 2 is 10. Plus 5 is 15. Plus 1, 16. Put the 6, carry the 1. 6 plus 2 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. Plus another 1 is 10. Carry the 1. 6 and 1 is 7. 4 decimal places, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4 to get 7.065. Now we need to divide by 2. Last step. So I'll rewrite that down here, 7.065. Now we're dividing by 2. 2 goes into 7 3 times. That's 6. Subtract. Bring down our 10. Bring our decimal straight up. 2 goes into 10 5 times. And that is 10. Subtract. Bring down the 6. 2 goes into 6 3 times. That is 6. Bring down the 5. 2 goes into 5. That'd be twice. And that is 4. Subtract and get 1. Now, since it only wants us to go to the nearest hundredth, we can stop there. So we're given 3.532. Now, the hundredths place is right here. It's the tenths, then the hundredths, then the thousandths. So since we need to round to the hundredths, we look at this. It's 4 or less, so the 3 rests. So we just get 5. We get 3.53. Since it's area, it is feet squared. All right, last we have number 9. It says Zach wanted to lay new carpet in the entrance and hallway of his house, as shown below. The carpet is sold for $2.40 a square foot. How much will Zach pay for the carpet in the entrance and the hallway of his house? So first off, it's looking for area. We have 2 shapes here, so I'm going to divide the shape right here. So I need to figure out a few things. I know that I have a rectangle up top. I'm going to call it rectangle 1. Okay, so this is going to be rectangle 1. Then I have another rectangle down here, and this is going to be rectangle 2. Let's do the math for that over here. So for a rectangle, I have area equals base times height. The height of the rectangle is 3, and the base is 10 3/4. Now I'm going to change that to a decimal and say 10.75. So I do, the base is 10.75, and the height is 3. So let's multiply that out. 3 times 5 is 15. Carry the 1. 3 times 7 is 21. Plus 1 is 22. Put the 2, carry the 2. 3 times 0 is 0. Plus 2 is 2. And 3 times 1 is 3. 2 decimal places, so we're right there. So this top part is 32.5 9.25 feet. Now we need to figure out this rectangle right here. Rectangle 2. Now we know the base is 4. That's easy. But we don't quite know the height. Since we split the rectangle right here, this is not the actual true height. Now we find the actual true height, just this part, by subtracting 12.5 minus 3. Because if this is the entire side length that is 12.5, this part right here would be 3. So whatever's left over after we subtract would be the new height. So let's do that now. We have 12.5, because 1/2 is 0.5. We're subtracting the 3 feet. 5 minus 0 is 5. Bring your decimal straight down. Now we need to do 2 minus 3. We can't do that, so we have to borrow. This is now 0, and this is 12. 12 minus 3 is 9, so we get the height of 9.5 feet. So now we need to multiply. So we have our area equals base times height still. Our base is 4, and our height is 9.5. So let's multiply 9.5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20, carry the 2. 9 times 4 is 36, plus 2 is 38. 1 decimal, so we bring it over once. So we get 38 feet. They're both squared. Now we need to add them together. We have 38 plus 32.25. So we get, not 0, we get 5, 2, decimal. We get 10, carry the 1, 6, 7. So we get 70.25. Now, that's just feet. How many feet squared there are? So we have a tricky answer right there in A. That is the exact answer we got, but we know we have to do something else with this 2.4. So we can mark out A as an answer choice. Now it says the carpet is sold for $2.40 a square foot. We have 70.25 square feet. So we need to multiply 70.25. We're going to multiply it by 240. So I can just do 2.4 and it's the exact same thing. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry the 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 4 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 4 times 7 is 28. We're done with 4. X for place value. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 2 times 0 is 0. And 2 times 7 is 14. Now we add. We get 0, 0, 6, 8. This is 6, and that's 1. Now we have 3 decimal places up here. We have 1, 2, 3. So we move it 1, 2, 3. To get 168.60, because we're dealing with money, there's only 2 decimal places. So it's $168.60. C.